Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be taking a look at this very old video camera from Philips, the V100. This camera is actually black and white, and the box kind of gives that away slightly. And looking at the box art, you've got what looks like a Bond villain there filming somebody playing tennis. It shows other special events in life that you record, and the fact that you can play it back instantly on your television set. And looking at the style of some of that clothing and the cheese plant there in the background, it really does ooze the 1970s, doesn't it? My research suggests this is from around 1979. Looking at the design of this camera and the packaging, I would say it probably ran for a good few years before this. The first thing that surprised me with this camera was its price, £250 back then in 1982. Never mind what it probably was in 1979. In today's money, in 2024 with inflation, that's just over £1,100. So you're looking at a minimum of 25 lux using the Vidicon tube to get this camera working, and the sensitivity control is all automatic, so there's no adjustment whatsoever. The camera itself weighs just over 1.5 kilos, which is quite heavy really when you think about how basic it is. All you get here for an instruction manual is this instruction sheet, which is double-sided, gives you a brief outline of all the camera's parts and functions, and shows you how to set it up. This camera uses a RF cable to connect to your television set. It's very, very simple indeed. In fact, there are hardly any controls on this camera whatsoever. I should imagine because of its simplicity, this would have been a very good selling point back in the day, because it really is foolproof. There's nothing really you can do wrong. The only main adjustments you've really got is the aperture and the zoom and the focus. Inside the box, you're presented with the RF cable, and the packaging comprises this very toxic foam insert, which we wouldn't dream of using today. Very highly flammable. And there you have the 10-metre video cable. They give you 10 metres on this camera because this camera can only be used indoors, as there is no battery system for this. And here is the control unit. The control unit just has a RF output on it, on-off button, and the video cable itself, and a 240 volt input. The output for this camera is 9 volts and 600 milliamps, which is quite unusual, because usually they're around about 12 volts. First look at the camera, it looks like it's built like a battleship. It's got a magnesium alloy body, black and white CRT viewfinder. You've got a microphone socket at the top there. The microphone on the front, and a C-mount lens. The camera almost looks like a cine camera at first glance. It's in a very sort of unusual dark grey colour. Most cameras at this time here had plastic cases, and were usually black or silver. But this is made by Philips, and as we know, Philips did their own thing back then. On the side there you've got a brightness adjustment for the black and white viewfinder, and that's it. There's your 10-pin camera connection on the bottom there, which is unusual because normally it's just a cable coming straight out of the camera, or it's a DIN socket. Now, when I first bought this camera, I couldn't get any picture out of it at all. But I've got it back out of storage again the other day, and to my surprise I got a picture coming through the viewfinder, but it looked quite blurry. So next we'll take it outside and do a bit of footage using the onboard microphone as well. I'm going to record this to VHS, and I apologise in advance now. There is a lot of background noise. This camera seems to pick up just about everything, but it's quite interesting though. So let's take a look at that next. So this is what the camera looks like outside in daylight. It's a very bright day, and as you can see the image is slightly out of focus. Incidentally, I've had to zoom right in here to get this focal length right, and this is the best I can do for focusing. The camera's obviously manual focus. I've tried adjusting the aperture as well, because obviously that changes the depth of field, and it's still obviously very soft and out of focus looking. And here we are with the Sony lens from the older camera from around about 1973. This camera here is probably from about 1977, I think. I guess the other lens must be a little bit fogged up somewhere. I could see a little bit of fungus on it. I guess it's affecting the focal length. Interesting, I'm having to be about 5 metres away from this camera to be able to actually fit into the shot. And I've had to zoom in obviously as well to be able to get that focusing just right. Otherwise everything's really, really blurry. And we're using the onboard microphone here as well. It seems to be working quite well. Usually on these older cameras they're quite poor. and I'm recording onto VHS. Wanted to look more original, how things would have done back in the day. I guess these would have been probably on the older formats, like the Philips box tapes. I forget the format off the top of my head right now, and even some of the reel-to-reel machines back in the day. So here we are again. I'm inside now, and I've got a different lens on. This is a Cosmic R television lens, 8.5mm. It's letting me hold the camera quite close. With the other two lenses that I tried, I had to be sort of 4 or 5 meters away. Still not quite in focus, but I think that's basically just how this camera is. Or maybe it's just old. Obviously it's getting on a bit now. It's nearly 50 years old. So we'll try it on the we'll try it downstairs in the studio next. See what that looks like. I tried it in the studio and it still looked quite poor. So I decided we'll just open this camera up now and have a look inside of it, to see if there's anything we can adjust to make it a sharper picture, because I do think that it should look a lot better than this. Okay, so let's pop the top of this off, show the side off rather, and have a look inside and see what's inside of this old camera. So under there you've got the black and white viewfinder. Looking at the side there, it looks like this panel comes off. So let's have a look. Only see one screw, so we'll see how we get on with that first. Quality of that machine screw. So does this just pull off? It wants to. Ah, there we go. The hidden screw there, look. So you've got your microphone symbol there. Slide that back, drill your mic socket, and then there's another screw. Genius. I think I might take that lens off, but to get it off I need to move that microphone. Just unscrews. The whole microphone's a single contained unit, which is handy if you ever need to replace it. I wonder if they did something actually where you could extend it and have an extension cable. C-mount lens, so it just unscrews. A little bit of corrosion there on the around the edge of the pickup tube. I'm wondering actually if the pickup tubes should be a bit further forward than that. I wonder if that's why it's affecting the focus system, or is there something missing? A filter, like on the other cameras when you take the infrared filter out. I've actually got one here to hand. It's an infrared filter here from another camera. And when you don't have that in, sometimes these mist up or fog up. As they get old, they delaminate. And if you take that out, it messes up all your focal lengths, your focusing. But I don't think black and white cameras had an infrared filter, so probably not the case. It's just strange how all those different lenses just couldn't seem to get it to focus very well. Had to be really far away and zoom in. I can feel like getting loose now, nearly there. I bet there's hardly anything in it actually. Right, let's have a look. Wow. That's a very large circuit board. The case is quite heavy actually, so it's a magnesium alloy. God, there isn't much in there. Another board there. Well, that board there unscrews at that point, there and there. And I bet the CRT viewfinder there probably lifts out with the board. Got some adjustments there, like contrast, white clipper, black levels, focus. That could be one we could look at. Beam. See, it's getting on a bit now. So the components won't be at the spec they were when it was made. So we might need to do some adjustment to get that focus right, maybe. Don't know. Let's have a further investigate, shall we? See what's underneath this board. Interesting screws. Strange how they've gone for that type. Can't see any more screws. I was hoping that would just slide out with that. Oh, here we go. Feels right. Maybe not. There must be another screw I can't see. unless... Ah, there we go. That brightness adjustment there for the viewfinder was holding it back. Wow. I see it folds out. Built with serviceability in mind. Look at that. That's amazing. I just love how that's been put together. It's got some plastic hinges just there and on the other side there. Brilliant. And that's the tube. And there's some adjustment there, look. I wonder what that adjusts. Oh, I've got a name there on the tube. Japanese, which is interesting. Can't quite pronounce it. Chuomusen. Made in Japan, it says. There is a model number on there. Look at those capacitors there, those filter capacitors. What brilliant colours they've got there. Almost look good enough to eat, don't they? But look at that. Look at the quality of the components. And these are actually removable as well. They've actually got all of them now. All the ICs are removable. Incredible. And that tiny little CRT screen there. I just love the way this is put together. It's fantastic. Build quality is amazing. It's just so practical and serviceable. Wow. Got my just noticed I've got my thumb there on top of a whole high voltage area. Obviously just a transform. It's a it's a flyback, I think. Looking at it, looks like a bit of a flyback transformer. Yeah, it will be. It's for the CRT screen there. Look, there's a suction cup, and the white cable goes all the way around to there. Got to be careful with those because they can still hold a charge. Those tubes, even when powered off. I think what I need to do is, I wonder what that is for. Is it for focusing? No, it can't be, because if I adjusted that, there's another screw there holding that in place. Well, you did, I suppose you loosen that off first on that one there, then adjust that. Maybe that'll adjust the focusing. But is that going to pull the tube back and forth? Yes, it will, won't it? I can see that now. So yeah, it could just be that then. So when I adjust this here, it will make this move back and forth, and I'll bring the front of the tube. It will make it come in or out. So I think we should try that. Maybe that's where my problems are. But why would it be out of alignment though? I've got nothing to lose, have we? If I mark it where it is. Somehow, well, I can see where it is. I can mark it at these points here with a pen, and then we can adjust it. Brilliant. Just love the way that goes together. Obviously, in the hand grip there, you've got your 10-pin connector, and the wires go up the handle, just there, onto the board. So simple. Because it's black and white, you see, it doesn't need a lot, does it? Okay, so I was just filming a setup sequence of this black and white camera. Heard a humming sound from the transformer here. This is the power supply. And it also has the video output cable. And suddenly the picture went off and this has stopped humming. So now this has gone faulty, which is annoying because the camera itself has its own cable basically. I don't have another one of these. To go straight onto the end of the cable itself, onto the socket rather, annoyingly, so I can't just pop another one on. So let's open this up now, shall we, and have a look inside and see if we can see anything at all that's gone wrong. Very frustrating, but this is part of the parcel of having this old gear. It's never going to last forever, and it can go wrong at any time. It is a going concern having this stuff. I didn't hear any banging or popping or anything. My first thoughts were, is there a reefer cap in here? Because they can usually go bad. But we'll have a look and see. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's have a look inside. Whoa, more in there than I thought it was going to be. Flipping heck. course it's got an RF modulator in there as well, because obviously it's got the RF output. But the transformer, I could hear a humming from it, which I hadn't heard before, and suddenly it just went off. There's a very large capacitor just down in the bottom there, a blue one. Can't see any reefer caps, and everything looks clean. It's immaculate in there, just like the camera. Oh, this is annoying, quite a setback. There's a fuse there. I'll test it, just in case, but then why did it blow if it has blown? Looks fine, but as we know, sometimes they can't be. So let's get the meter out. Oh, that's fine. Wouldn't be that easy, would it? Quite a setback. Okay, so I've obviously got the power supply open. I've been checking voltages. I've traced right back to the power supply itself, the actual transformer there. In fact, there's two transformers looking at it. And there's nothing coming out of them whatsoever, unfortunately. So the transformers failed, which I've never had happen to me before. But what I have done is found out where the power is coming from, and two, it goes just under the board here. I'm just using my bench power supply, slowly cranking the voltage up. I started about 8 volts, because this does say on this side here outputs 9 volts, about 600 milliamps. And I've now got the camera working again. Thank goodness, because obviously I was getting quite excited about getting this working and trying that focus adjustment we talked about before. Had to use my old Sony 9UB black and white TV here, the one that I worked on a while ago, because I couldn't find the remote for my colour TV to be able to tune it in, because obviously it's UHF. You forget just how cumbersome these old things are, having to use an RF signal. I have got an RF to composite adapter somewhere, but I can't find that either. But obviously with these old TVs, you just turn a dial on the side and you're there, that's it, it's easy. And the black and white viewfinder is working fine on the camera itself as well. Just drawing about 7 amps, which seems quite high actually, but I suppose it is all old gear, isn't it? So, right, so we'll try that focusing thing next that was on about with that there. I'll try and set something up so we can see it live happening on the screen here as I adjust it. So fingers crossed, nothing else will go wrong, and we'll do that next. Okay, here we are, we're now set up. We've got 3 cameras set up here to record all of this. I've just undone the 2 screws just there, securing the tube casing there, the deflector casing. So hopefully when I adjust this, we'll see some improvement on the focusing. I've just been messing about with the aperture. Obviously if you close that down you'll get a slightly better focal range, because obviously the more light you let in, the more blurry it becomes. But you can see there it's out of focus. I'm zoomed right out. If I zoom in and try and refocus, it's a bit better, look. But obviously you shouldn't have to zoom all the way in, because at the end of the day these cameras were designed to be used indoors. I'm going to bring the focusing into about 1.2 meters, that's about how far the camera is away from the test card there. So let's try adjusting this and see if we see any difference. That's made it go worse. I can physically see a difference there. It's not really changing anything, is it? Obviously the more I adjust it either way, then it is making it go even more blurry. So that's clearly not the problem. You can see it getting more focus. No, but that makes it worse. So where it was correct then, at factory. So that's not made any difference. Like I said, if I zoom in and focus, that's about as best I'm going to get it. Maybe I'm expecting too much. See, this is an old camera, maybe things were just like this then. Focus at 1.2 meters, zoom right in here to get that as sharp as I can get it. Did you really need to be that far away to be able to get an image? So I think the next thing we'll do is try the focusing of the camera output, which is just down there, according to the side of the board. That one there is for the flyback, for the CRT monitor, And this one here is for the pickup tube for the camera. And that's helped a little bit. Not much though, but a little. Certainly better than it was. And that is a lot more legible now. Oh, that's much better. But again, I am zoomed in there down to 30mm. Zoom back out. I mean, it's better. It's better than it was, isn't it? A lot better. Let's see if it's a bit like adjusting the back focus, isn't it, on the broadcast cameras? So we're on 2.8 f-stop there, 12.5 on the zoom, which is fully wide, and 1.2 meters on the focusing. Well, it's certainly a lot better than it was. So I guess the next thing to do will be to try filming myself with it, see what I look like. Okay, so here we are. It's looking a lot better. It's still not really in focus, but I think that's just how they were back then. It is just black and white after all. I'm just viewing this back on this Sony monitor here. It's a 990UB. I said 9 before, it's actually 990. A nice little TV actually. Just seem to go on forever, they do. But it's good that we've got this camera working anyway. I've had a few problems along the way, didn't I? First of all, obviously it was all out of focus, trying it out in the garden there. And then the transformer packed up on me, which is unusual because transformers never really go, do they? Which is rather odd. So going forward, if I want to keep on using this, I'm going to have to find another 12-volt transformer to put in this. Something that's okay with sort of being drawn 8 amps from it. I guess I was very lucky this time that just adjusting the focus on the board there actually remedied the problem. First of all, I tried the obvious. It was thinking that it was mechanically underlined, but it turns out it was actually electronic. I guess the components have aged as time has gone on, and they're probably not operating in their original tolerances, so it's needed a little bit of adjustment just to bring things back in line. Well, I guess that just about brings me to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching with me. It's always very interesting testing out this old gear. I find it really fascinating actually, the old stuff, of how things first started out with us years ago for home video. Well, I guess that just leaves me to say, as always, thanks for watching, and until the next video, I'll be seeing you. And if you did enjoy watching this video, you may want to take a look at some of my other videos on similar themes. I'm always buying something on eBay, some old piece of technology, and trying to repair it. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching.